Daniel Diaz, Citizens for Sound Money. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Ranking Member, members of the committee. My name is Daniel Diaz. I'm Executive Director of Citizens for Sound Money. Citizens for Sound Money is a 501c4 organization that represents citizens around the country and at least 12 companies in the gold and silver industry that are worried about the loss of purchasing power of the dollar. And this is why we support this legislation. This is an economic justice issue. Since 1971, the dollar has actually lost 98% of its value. An example I've used in other states where I've testified on this exact same issue was in 1978. You could buy a house for $73,000, the average home in America. That was 265 ounces of gold. Today, the average home is around $514,000. Guess how many ounces of gold you can buy a house for? Less than 265,000, because gold maintains its purchasing power. As they print more currency, the dollar loses its supply and demand. If you have one Mona Lisa, it's priceless. You have a million Mona Lisas, it's worthless. Same thing with the dollar. And I have heard stories in my travels testifying on this from Americans who are struggling to survive. A 78-year-old woman had to come out of retirement driving an Uber, and I asked her why. She said because her retirement, her husband, she's a widow's retirement, and her pension could no longer provide her the necessities to feed herself. So she drives, and Uber pays for her car and allows her to eat. Same thing with an employee in New Hampshire, a hotel manager. She works 3 jobs. She needs to do that to survive. 78% of Americans live, a study came out in the summer, 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck with not $1,000 to their name. These are tragic stories, and this is why our organization is fighting so hard across the country. 22 states have filed some form of sound money legislation. 14 we're trying to make legal tender. So far, Idaho has made it legal tender, and yesterday, Alabama has made gold and silver legal tender. There is a movement because of the impact that it's having against citizens across this country. We are struggling, and this is going to reverse this trend. And, you know, I was just going to end with that testimony, but I just wanted to address some of the concerns that was brought up by the committee. When it comes to those practices on TV where it's gouged prices, look, me personally, I tell all my friends that when they want to buy gold and silver, the last thing you want to do is buy it on TV because they got to pay for marketing, commercial. That's their business model. But you can go to a local dealer and local coin shop and buy gold for $30 over spot. Spot is the price of gold. And then there was some concerns over here about I'm sorry, Representative Hart, I forget what your question was. I had an answer when you were talking. But the point is that currency, yes, replacing the currency. This isn't going to replace the currency. We're the only country in the world that operates on one currency. Every other country on the planet has at least 2 to 5 currencies. Argentina runs on 5. Europe runs on 2. China runs on 2. This will bring us in line with the rest of the world where they run parallel with the predominant currency. So it's not a supplanting of the US dollar. It's running parallel and giving people the choice to put their hard-earned wages into something that will protect their economic energy. That's what I call a wage. When we work, we're exerting economic energy, and when we put that energy, that wage, do we want to put it in the dollar that's being stolen from us, or do we want to put it in gold and silver that's going to maintain that purchasing power over time? So we have another person who's going to be testifying. He works for one of the gold and silver companies that's up on this bill, and he's an expert on the protective aspects of the depositories. I think there was a question about the credit cards and so forth. I know I spoke long, Chairman. I'm going to let him come up and maybe say a few things about that. But I urge this committee to vote yes for the sake of Floridians and Americans across the country, because this bill could be the model for the rest of the country. We are, the progress we're making on this specific bill could save many Americans from struggling every single month because of the loss of their purchasing power and the loss of their wealth. Thank you very much.